I talk about leadership sometimes, from the standpoint of, that all people are looking for 3 things in their life. They really wanna be known, right? Which you said, I was listening to how, like, intentionally you were. They wanna be known, they wanna be loved. Sometimes we can walk into a room, I mean, I really love everyone, right? But not everyone believes me when I say that, right? They'll say, "Well, you can't love me if you don't know me." And there's probably some truth to that. So if I'm known and I'm loved and then I'm inspired by purpose, which is this activity that you just described so clearly gives this future inspirational vision that everyone comes around and says, "Hey, you know me, you love me, and we're on a mission together." And so tell us a little about what the outcome started to look like as this was implemented over time.
I would say just having the PLC conversations with teachers where they were talking to each other, not at each other. And they were really looking at data differently. But I think the biggest thing was knowing kids, because if I took the time to know you as a teacher, then I expected you to take that time to know our kids. There's always a saying that elementary teachers, they're very nourishing, right? And nurturing. And middle school teachers, they're good at their content. They know their content, but they really don't know their kids. So I challenged them. I made it a point too, because anything that I asked of my teachers, I made sure I did it too. Rolled up my sleeves, worked side by side. So if I wanted them to know their students' names, by golly, I knew 800 kids' names because I wanted them to feel that I know you. And so they really took the time to know our kids. And so we had our RTI process where we would get together and basically go over, we call it a thumbs up, thumbs down process, where we highlighted every student. And so teachers would tell me thumbs up if they're doing well, thumbs down if they're not, tell me why they're not doing well, or tell me why things have improved. So having the teachers really know their kids was very, very empowering. Before, as we started to build our master schedule over the summer, I had the counselor and a group of teachers, and we'd come in, go through every single student's schedule to make sure they were in the right academic team because we needed to set them up for success.
Wow.
So when they saw that we were taking the time to do these little things and the outcome of these kids that were not successful before the grade level before, and all of a sudden they're flourishing because you needed to match them up with the right person.
Right.
So yeah, all these little things just really started to make a difference. And so academic scores were going up, attendance. We had both teachers and students. They wanted to be there. We have an open enrollment policy in our district. So we had so many transfers because they were starting to hear about the great things that were happening. And when you have a winning season also with athletics and have a great fine arts program, they're going to want to come to your school. So needed to market and tell our story. That was one thing too. I didn't want anybody to tell our story other than us. And
Yeah.
so when you're able to really grab hold of that narrative, yeah, things are going to change.
Is there a specific story about a parent, a teacher, a child, a student that really captures what you wanted to see happen there, that really touches you when you really think about it?
So thinking back, I think we forget how powerful the voice of a student is. Everything structured when I got there at the school was probably more teacher convenient than what was good for kids. So when we started to talk about what was good for kids, it meant also giving them a voice. And so we started what we call an ambassador program, which allowed the students to have a voice in some of our, committees, allowing them to share what it is that they want, what's going to attract you to come to school, and then wanted the kids, take our eighth graders, to then mentor our seventh and sixth graders. And that really just transformed the whole culture of the campus. But what it also did is it gave the shy students, because middle school is hard. It's just, and the students are going through so much socially, emotionally. So you wanted to provide them that support. So when you see the shy, quiet students that came in sixth grade that probably just didn't feel this was their home, this was the right place, and see them evolve and then become leaders. It was just amazing to see. But what I loved was when I left the campus, because then I was able to go to central office and see the end in mind, where graduation day, where I saw my kids that I had. And this is a pretty cool story. When I got to Valley View, those students that were there, I had them at the pre-K center at the age of 4.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I'd already made a slight connection. We only had them for 1 year at the pre-K center, right? So to see them then as obnoxious middle school students, they were still the same kid. It was just a bigger body. And then when I got to see them though in high school and graduate, that just really affirms why you do the work that you do. So it may not be a specific child, but it's giving the students that we had at Valley View the confidence and the leadership skills that I know they would not have had that opportunity when we first started.